Picture a brutal summer, the kind of heat that bakes the soil until it cracks, turning water into a matter of absolute agricultural survival. For a farmer named Ramaya, securing a reliable water source means everything. To save his crops, he hands over his hard-earned savings to his neighbor, Somaya, to purchase a functioning well on the edge of the village. The very next day, Ramaya walks out to his new property to irrigate his fields. But Somaya is standing there, blocking his path, refusing to let him draw a drop. He separates the physical structure from the resource inside it, arguing Ramaya paid for the hollow brick cylinder, but never explicitly bought the water volume. Because contracts rely on exact phrasing, Somaya locks down the resource, leaving Ramaya an empty stone circle. Ramaya is completely paralyzed. He has no money to negotiate. His crops are hours from dying. Somaya's strategy proves the most effective way to steal is within the bounds of a contract, using a carefully isolated loophole as a weapon. Seeking intervention, the desperate farmer brings his case to the local court. The presiding judge is Maryada Ramanna, a man with a reputation for absolute, unbending fairness. The courtroom watches a stark contrast unfold. Ramaya pleads through tears about his dying livelihood, while Somaya stands completely relaxed, confident in the strength of his semantic trick. The judge listens to both sides. He looks at Somaya and validates his logic, stating that legally, the physical well and the water occupying it are indeed two distinct entities. It is an agonizing moment. The structure of impartial law, designed to protect the innocent, appears perfectly calibrated to shelter a greedy technicality. But Ramanna doesn't close the case. Instead, he asks Somaya a simple follow-up question that shifts the entire perspective of the dispute. He returns to the trickster's exact premise. Let's look at that diagram again. The judge confirms that the brick cylinder is entirely Ramaya's property, and the liquid volume belongs exclusively to Somaya, and that creates a fatal problem for the trickster. By strictly enforcing Somaya's own definition, he is actively storing his personal property inside someone else's legal asset. The judge hands down an inescapable ultimatum. Somaya must either immediately drain the water out of Ramaya's well or pay daily rent for the storage space his property is occupying. Moving an entire well's worth of water immediately with no secondary storage is physically impossible. Somaya has no way to comply. Ramanna dismantled the scheme by following Somaya's premise to its literal conclusion, turning the trickster's own argument into a prison. The resolution is instant. Facing financial ruin from the daily rent, Somaya drops his claim entirely, and Ramaya finally secures the water he needs for his fields. This sudden surrender highlights the fatal vulnerability inherent in high-stakes deceit. Greed naturally causes tunnel vision. A person becomes so intensely focused on exploiting one specific rule that they completely ignore the broader ecosystem of rules around them. Somaya's cleverness was limited to the crack in the language. Judge Ramanna understood how that single crack connected to the entire legal foundation. Deceit relies on isolating facts. Structural fairness relies on connecting them. When every rule is applied objectively, a dishonest premise cannot hold its shape. Justice arrives through the precise, cold application of a deceiver's own rules. By mirroring the exact logic of the initial trick, Judge Ramanna successfully turned the trap back on its creator.